What's happening, good people? Welcome to the channel. I'm Wes, aka Mr. Budget Watch, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be taking a look at a movement, and I'm going to try and figure out why Seiko don't use their own movement. But first, a little introduction to what it actually is. So this, in this little escapement time, is a VH31. So you might be thinking, well, I've never even heard of that. Well, actually, I hadn't heard of it until I got one of these. Now, the VH31 is a little bit different to traditional quartzes. If you take a look at a traditional quartz, which I have here, you might be able to spot a bit of a difference. Can you see? We have a single tick here. You can just see it ticking away, and then here, you can see we have a sweep, which is something you don't really see on a quartz, especially a three-hander like this. You might see a sweep in seconds on a mecha quartz, but not on a three-hander. And it actually looks a little bit more akin to an automatic. Obviously, there is a little bit of a difference in how smooth the sweeps are. So in the Mayota 821A in this, the sweep is six beats per second. This is 4. So it's smooth, but it's not quite as smooth as a automatic. And of course, then it's not anywhere near as smooth as a high beat automatic or Seiko, well, Grand Seiko's spring drive that are ridiculously smooth. But this is smoother than a traditional quartz. So what this really does, this watch, this movement, is it blends two different features of two different movements. We have the accuracy of a quartz, which a lot of people do like. And then we get one of the best parts of an automatic, that really graceful sweeping seconds. So that brings me to the point. Specifications, if I can find any, will pop up on screen as well. But yeah, that brings me to a point. Why is this movement not utilised by Seiko? Now, I've had a look at Seiko's current entry-level quartzes, and I can't see any with this movement in. Now, there's a lot of quartz movements. There's, simple three-handers like this. There's three-handed, which are solar. And there's plenty of watches that they offer, but none of them have this movement. And I'm kind of struggling to figure out why, because it's a good little movement. So let's just give it a little demonstration. So this is a screw down crown, so we just have to pop it out, give it a pull, and it should stop. This crown's a little bit awkward to use, by the way, but there we go. So now we've got it, and it's actually a really nice, smooth movement. It feels pretty solid, and it works fine. So let's just get that crown back in. So I can see it sweeping away again. So it's a good movement. I've had this one for a while now, and it's been reliable, it's been accurate, and it feels great to use. So why is Seiko not using it in their own watches? So if I'll pull up sort of a basic tree of sort of how Seiko do their watches. So we've got sort of their entry-level Seiko 5s, which is their automatics. But then if you look at their quartzes, they have them from around 70 to 80, all the way up to a couple of hundred, depending on where you go. I actually reviewed one of their quartzes, one of their entry-level ones. That was sub 200. It's the Seiko SUR319P1. How did I remember that? I have no clue. But I'll pop a link to it up here if you want to check out the review, and it'll be in the description as well. But that is a really nice, really nice looking little dress watch. Perfect candidate for this movement. But yet Seiko chose to put in a single tick quartz. Why? When they've created this little gem of a movement, why not use it? And I think I know why. If you take a look up Seiko's ladder, beyond their entry-level stuff, you can see we have pressages. Now Presages are Seiko's sort of fancier dress watches, and they sit below their more expensive stuff, and of course below the Grand Seiko. But Presage, they're sort of like the mid-range, and they're very, very nice, don't get me wrong. I do really like Presage watches, but that got me thinking, that could be the reason why they don't use this movement in their more affordable ones. Let me just move these out of the way. So if you think about it, there's a watch, a Quartz watch. This movement, probably about 200 quid. It's got really nice build quality, really nice finishing. Seiko's bracelet, you know what they're like at the price point. And then this movement. Now, to the average person, they'd look at this and they'd think, oh, that's really nice. I like how sort of elegant the sweep is. And yet it's, it's accurate as a Quartz. I'll take it. Whereas an enthusiast would probably go that more expensive Presage route. But that is the issue, I think. Seiko have not used this movement because they don't want to hurt sales of the Presage. So if you think about it, if you go to say a Seiko reseller or a watch store, and they've got these really nice Quartzes displayed, and then they've got the automatics displayed. Now both of them are sweeping away nicely. So the average consumer is probably going to think, well, that looks basically the same as that, but it's 200, 300 quid cheaper. It's basically the same thing. I'm just going to buy the cheaper one. Now what they don't know is obviously what us enthusiasts know is one's an automatic, one's a Quartz. They'd probably not sort of guess that straight away unless it's displayed on the actual, dial itself. I mean, I'm not saying that average consumers are in any way, clueless, don't get me wrong. But if a person that doesn't know anything about watches and they just want a watch, of course they're going to sway more towards the more affordable one. I mean, it just makes sense, especially if they look the exact same. So I'll sort of see if I can explain it a little bit more. I'll see if I can find two very identical watches and I'll pop them here. So one is the cheaper one is the more expensive one. And if they look the same, sweep the same with this movement, logic would say, well, I'm going to save some money and I'm going to go this one. Basically the same as this, but cheaper. And I mean, who doesn't like saving money? And I mean, I know I do. But again, being an enthusiast, we'd probably go the more expensive route because we know that's, got an automatic versus the Quartz. Now again, nothing wrong with Quartzes. I really do like Quartz movements. And this is the best of both worlds. But then from a business and financial perspective, that's probably why Seiko doesn't use this movement. Because it gives you the best of both worlds. So why would anybody buy an automatic that's not as accurate when this does the same look of an automatic but retains the accuracy of a Quartz? Now, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I think that's what it is. I think that's why they don't use it, so they don't hurt their own sales. I mean, from a business perspective, you don't want to, do you? They would rather sell a Presage than an entry-level Quartz. Because obviously the margins are higher, they're going to make more profit off that watch. So why would they want to sell more cheaper ones? Of course they're going to want people to, buy the more expensive stuff because that's where they make the most money. They barely make money off their more affordable entry-level stuff. So of course they want people to, to spend that extra £200 because they're making more money off it. Whereas if they introduce this into the range, there's not going to be as many reasons for someone to spend that extra £200. So yeah, I kind of think that's why it is. But anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys think. Do you agree with me, or do you think, I'm talking nonsense as usual? So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. Thanks guys. Have a good one. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. And of course, follow me on social media at Mr. Budget Watch. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.